Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. This is the 10th video in the Path of Exile Build of the Week series, where we demonstrate an interesting character build that a player has submitted to us. Today's build is a level 72 witch called ElementalFury, which specializes in getting critical strikes as frequently as it can. For a character that is designed to deal critical strikes constantly, Elemental Hit is definitely a good skill choice. It adds a large amount of damage from a random element to each of your physical attacks. When these attacks become critical strikes, they cause the elemental status elements of freezing, burning, or shocking to occur. This elemental hit gem has been augmented by increased critical strike damage, increased critical strike rate, lesser multiple projectiles, and weapon elemental damage. Together, it's quite a formidable combination. One of the initial problems that this build had to solve was the fact that its elemental hit skill cost 83 mana per attack due to being affected by 4 support gems. The Clarity Aura was used to achieve faster mana regeneration. With this aura on, it's possible to run other auras such as Grace and Discipline, because the rate of regeneration is sufficient to sustain the elemental hit skill regardless of how much mana has been reserved. All of the auras that this player uses are linked with reduced mana cost support gems. In terms of items that add critical strike chance and damage, most of their damage comes from the wand and their amulet. The wand has a total of 28% spell damage and 34% critical strike chance, which multiplicatively affects the wand's base critical strike rate of 10.72%. The amulet has an additional 34% critical strike chance. This character's passive skill build has 3 goals: critical strike damage, critical strike chance, and weapon elemental damage. After escaping the witch starting area as quickly as possible, they travel in 2 different directions, picking up all of the critical strike and weapon elemental damage passives in the center of the tree and in the shadow and ranger areas. Overall, with elemental hit selected, the character achieves a critical strike damage multiplier of over 400% and a critical strike rate of above 73%. This is of course higher when you use Power Siphon, but it's not worth the effort generally when the character is already getting so many critical strikes. It's very interesting to see that this build chooses to use the Elemental Weakness Curse instead of the Critical Weakness Curse. I think it's a pretty sure sign that if the Critical Weakness Curse isn't useful to a character like this, then the curse needs to be rebalanced in some way. I'm pretty impressed by this build, as I haven't seen a good critical strike chance character for some time. It used to be much easier to build characters like this, so I appreciate the effort that the player has gone to when preparing this character. Access to Path of Exile is currently restricted to players in our closed beta. We're entering open beta later this year, but you can get access now if you purchase a supporter pack from pathofexile.com. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next week.